Hey everybody, it's Melissa, nurse practitioner, researcher and training and health and wellness coach. And today we are making red lentil soup. So you know we are all about making quick, easy recipes that anybody can do. So you can make some red lentil soup in a small batch or a big batch in about 30 minutes or so. So one of the great things about red lentils, and the name is kind of misleading because they're kind of this orangey color. And you can see they're really fine and small. They are an excellent source of fiber. So 1/4 cup of raw red lentils is about a serving size, and that is about 15 grams of fiber. So daily recommendations according to national guidelines is that we should be getting about 25 to 35 grams of fiber, and many of us are falling short on that. So this is a great way to get this. You have this for lunch along with a salad or for dinner or just as a meal by itself, and you've got like almost half your day's worth of fiber. You don't have to think about it or take a supplement. It's also a great source of protein, and they're naturally gluten-free. And let's see, what else can I say about them? Great complex carbohydrate, low in sugar, and these are just a really good source. And so if you're a vegetarian or you're looking to go gluten-free, or you're concerned even about the glycemic index, so yes, it has a lot of carbohydrates, but think about that. 15 grams is fiber, so that's making up some of that carbohydrate. So don't be a carbophobe necessarily, just make sure your carbs are great. And it's also a great source of iron, so about 9% of your daily source of iron for just one serving, and you may choose to eat more than a serving. So as usual, we only have a few ingredients, so we'll go ahead and get started. Some olive oil, and about a tablespoon of olive oil. We've talked before, I kind of don't measure things, sometimes I do, but about a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half of olive oil, and we'll get that started. Let's turn on the correct eye. And I've already, as usual, I talk about chopping up things beforehand, so we got a lot of onions and garlic chopped up, and then we like to do that because we use just about onions and garlic in everything. So, but for this recipe, I would say maybe about half of a chopped onion or a whole small onion. So we are going to, well, we'll put our garlic in first. This would be about 2 cloves of garlic. And we like a lot of garlic. We're gonna put that in there. And then we'll kind of do like that. Okay. And then I chopped up, this is 2 stalks of celery. So we're gonna get that in there. Oh my goodness, that smells so good. Onion, garlic, an amazing base for your food. So your soups, all your dishes, and they're not just for flavoring, they provide lots of great nutrients for your body. And we can talk more about that. So we are just gonna saute this. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit because I don't want it to burn. And if you are being conscious about the amount of fat or olive oil you're using, and you want to get a better saute, but you don't want to use a whole lot of oil, you can just use maybe half of that. And then sometimes what I do is I take my chicken broth, and if you don't want to use chicken broth because you want to keep this purely vegetarian, then just use vegetable broth. Okay? And I just pour a little bit of that. Okay. So I just kind of let that saute. We're going to turn it up just a little bit. I'm going to cover that. And we'll stir that maybe a good couple minutes. So we'll come back in a little bit after that saute for a couple minutes. This is getting nice and tender. Our onions are getting translucent. And what I like to do, and I guess you can do this at any time in the cooking process, but this is just how I do it. I'm gonna go ahead and add my salt now. And usually I just kind of go and grab and do some, but we'll just do about half a teaspoon of salt, put that in there. And then some ground cumin. Cumin, how do you say that? I don't know. Today is cumin. All right, so we're gonna put like a whole teaspoon of that. And this is what really gives it the delicious flavor. And we're gonna stir that around. So our onions, our garlic, our celery. And you can chop up your vegetables as fine or as big as you like. These are actually kind of chopped up a little bit big. You may want to chop them up a little bit finer. Some people are sensitive to their onion and garlic being in their food. Another thing that you can do that I sometimes will do for this dish is to add carrots. So just where I put in the onions and garlic and celery, you chop up those carrots in fine, small little bits. You can add those at this point too to let your carrots get nice and soft, because the lentils will cook pretty fast, and so we want to make sure that we're cooking this down pretty soft so once they don't have to cook a whole lot more when we add the lentils. So we're just gonna let that, oh, that smells so good. See, when you go to a restaurant, you don't get like all the smells and flavor right away. I guess you taste it, but something about cooking it just makes it good. So we are gonna go ahead and add our red lentils. Most of the time for a regular serving, I'll just do 1 cup of red lentils. I've got about 1.5 cups. I'm making a bigger batch. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour these all in. You can buy red lentils in a bag, or if you're making a lot of them, you can buy them in bulk. So buying beans or other things in bulk at your local Whole Food store or any food that does it in bulk is a great way to save money, because we are all about saving money. Saving money, saving calories, make your food nutrient dense. Get more for your money. All right, so I like to get the lentils all coated in the sauce, not burning them, get everything flavored. And then we are going to add our chicken broth or vegetable broth. Okay. And for 1 cup of lentils, usually about 3 cups of broth. And so this was about 1.5 cups of lentils, and so what does that mean? A little bit more broth. Math on the spot. And play around and see how much broth you like to use. If you want more of a brothy kind of soup and your lentils are cooked, or you want more of a kind of mush soup. I tend to like the soup to be almost kind of like a potato-y consistency. So as you can see, our lentils are all covered, and we're going to bring this to a boil. Now these, like I said, will cook really fast. You don't want to boil it a long time. I bring it to a boil and then just put it on low, and then I kind of keep checking how much water I want, how thick it is, because it could end up just like a big pile of mash if you don't put enough liquid and you cook it too long. So as you can see, we're looking good. We're gonna leave that like that. All right. And I just kind of keep my cumin and salt out. I put everything else away as we were sauteing, because we like to just clean as we go. That was another one my mama taught me. And my husband, wish I would probably do more, clean as I go. So as you can see, it is coming to a boil. And I'm just gonna stir it, make sure none of that is sticking at the bottom. And we are gonna just turn it down a little bit and cover it so it can cook. We kind of want to let it cook on maybe like medium low. All right. And we'll come back and check it in about 10 minutes or so. All right, and we'll just let that cook and let it smell up the house real good. I've been kind of coming back and forth and checking on this a little bit. You can see we are done. I added just a little bit more broth because it was thickening up a little bit more than I wanted. But you can see that consistency. So it's still got a nice kind of layer of broth, but it's nice and thick, and we can see our lentils separated there. If you want your lentils not cooked as much, just cook it a little bit less. And then what we're gonna do is just add just a dash of red pepper flakes, just a couple of those. And you don't need to do that. And you can also add just like a quick squeeze of lemon at the end. The acid will bring out the flavor. Or you can add just like a little squeeze of vinegar real quick to bring out the flavor. And that's it. So we've got our red lentil soup in, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. And so I will put the ingredients in the show notes and give you an estimate about what I use. And like I always say, just kind of play with it and find out what you like. You know, a little bit more salt, a little less salt. If you don't want to use chicken broth and you want to use vegetable broth instead, you can add some carrots. You can also add a little bit of spinach if you want to put some green in there. So you can do anything you want, but you've got a nice good base to start. This makes for a great dinner paired with a salad or a great lunch. And you can just pack that up and it's easy to go. And even for the kids. So the kids, my kids enjoy this. We'll just put it in their container for lunch and they're good to go. All right, so let me know what you think. Leave some comments below and subscribe, tell a friend, so that way we know if, hey, you like what we're doing. And we'll see you next week. Have a good one.